Bring it to the meeting. Call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing for the invocation from Deacon Pete Shoemaker. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us all pray, please. Bow your heads. Gracious Heavenly Father, King of the universe, hear our prayers this evening, Lord, to be able to ask your blessing on this conclave. Enable our hearts to be open to your call, our eyes open to be able to see the needs of others, our ears open to not just hear, Lord, but to understand. We thank you and praise you for your glory, especially this time of year where we celebrate the birth of your Son. Bless us, guide us, and direct us according to your will, Lord, not our own. And continue to bless our lives, our labor, our family, and our community, and all who work for the service of this community. We are grateful. We ask this and all that we're about in your precious name. And we all say, amen.
Thank you, Deacon. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designated time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We're using electronic amplifying recording device in order to obtain an audible and clear record. We request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly into the microphone. The recording device will be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office and shall be the official record of Township Council meetings. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison, Mr. Schmidt,
Present.
Mr. Seiler,
Here.
Mrs. Strato,
Mrs. Trotto had a death in her family.
Mrs. Winters, Mr. Mercado,
Present.
Mr. Bianchini,
Present.
Mr. Lechner,
Here.
Pete Earl,
He just stepped in.
Mr. Carlemere,
Here.
Mr. Cantwell,
Here.
Mr. Carlos.
Here.
We have the first public portion. Any who wishes to speak on agenda items only, please raise your hand and come to the microphone. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Dennis Palmer, 10 Braemar Avenue, Blackwood, New Jersey.
Good evening.
Good evening and Merry Christmas to everybody as well. I really appreciate we still have the prayer at the beginning of the invocation. My question is on one of the resolutions that's 1412-305, the shared services. I'm a large fan, big fan of shared services. I think it's very a way to control costs and deal with interagency sharing. I know Mr. Brickley as a fellow engineer and a fellow certified public works manager. I guess my question is, who's licensed now? Who is the township's public works manager that's certified?
We don't have a certified public works manager at this point. Mr. Moffett was the last certified public works manager. You may be aware when Mr. Moffett left, we engaged the services of Jersey Professional Management, not only in a search for a replacement for Mr. Moffett, but also to provide us with an acting public works director. They did not also possess the certification. I have spoken with Dan Kaminsky at the certification unit. The state is aware that we are without a certified public works manager at this point. Their only concern was eventually we need to fill that and have somebody that is certified that either will be engaged as an employee or under a shared service agreement. And I did in fact review the shared service agreement that's on the agenda tonight with Mr. Kaminsky to make sure that complies with the state requirements.
Well, that was my concern, again, as a fellow licensee for both those licenses that Mr. Brickley has, that the town, as big as it is, has the appropriate certification, appropriately certified persons in those positions. I looked at Mr. Brickley's description. It's pretty voluminous on what he's doing. I guess who's running Public Works?
I am.
You're running Public Works now.
I'm the
Well, God bless you when the snow comes.
Excuse me?
God bless you when the snow comes.
Yeah, well, the leads so
Yeah.
far have been a challenge, but
Yeah, exactly.
we're ahead of schedule.
Well, my concern is, again, the township is as big as it is and as large as it is within the county, that we have certified personnel in those positions of responsible charge. And looking at the volume of the information that's in there, I guess I'm pleased that that's happening, but it's still concerned. He's doing all his other stuff that, I guess, have you been over at the Public Works and running the operation? I'm just curious.
I have.
how
I'm in
it's-
communication with all the supervisors. We are ready for snow. The salt shed is completely full. We're ready with our brine system. We have 3 3-yard trucks ready to go, loaded with salt right now that are not being used for the LEAP program. We have all of our outside contractors on board. All the certificates of insurance are being obtained. We are ready to go.
That's great. I mean, my concern is that when do you plan on actually hiring a full-time person? So, I mean, Tom, so you don't have to do it. Mr. Brickley's going to be busy with, I guess, leaves and whatever he's doing for the authority. Where's the township stand is actually filling that position? Because it somewhat seems you might be paying 2 people to do what one good qualified person can be doing.
Well, as I indicated, we went through a process of interviewing various applicants. I have to tell you, I was part of that interview process. I was not impressed with any of the individuals that we had interviewed. Some had the certification, some did not. Some came from very small municipalities. I don't think they were ready to handle a municipality this size. I don't know when the mayor will embark on looking for a replacement through the course of advertisements. At this point, he's asked me to step in as acting, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
Okay, well, I just think we should all get one good full-time certified person running that operation.
Appreciate your comment.
Obviously, one of the biggest ones in the township. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, Merry Christmas to everyone.
Ray?
Union Council, Ray Polidor, Ariel. Also I'd like to take the opportunity to wish you all Merry Christmas. And also, once again, thank you for leading off our meeting with prayer. We've missed it for a little while. One of the items that, actually let me follow up on Mr. Palmer's question. What is the significance with the shared service agreement with the MUA? What part are they taking in that shared service agreement?
They have engaged Mr. Brickley as their certified person. Again, I've reviewed their circumstances with the state, specifically with Dan Kaminsky from the certification unit. I explained to Mr. Kaminsky that they've engaged him as their certified person. I believe they're paying him on their payroll. And so I proposed to him that we'd enter into a shared service agreement, whereas we would make payment to the MUA, and the MUA would pay Mr. Brickley.
Okay, so it's a financial shared service only.
Correct. It qualifies for a shared service agreement.
Okay, thank you. One of the items missing on the agenda tonight was something that we were going to be speaking on tonight, was the recertification by Remington and Vernick on red light cameras. It's not on the agenda, and before the agenda, we go through that agenda, I'm curious to see what the status of that is. And
Well, Ray, we asked our solicitor to check with the prosecutor and get information for us, which he shared with us at the workshop. And at the workshop, I let Mr. Carlemere discuss what he shared. But at the workshop, it was then, through discussion, the council decided to not take any action, obviously, and to continue, let R&B continue to go with certifying those cameras. And Dave, you want to talk about what the prosecutor said?
I reached out to the prosecutor and had a lengthy conversation with him. I explained to him the set of facts, and he's well aware of the statute as I was, as far as the requirement for the certification for time every 6 months. I explained to him the circumstances and the concern that was brought up at the council meeting. He shared the same opinion I had, that we have to be cautious because if you do not certify this round, tickets that are pending, defense attorneys can use the lack of certification to defeat those tickets, and also the tickets that have been found guilty, he feels the door can be open for some attorney to initiate a class action to overturn those tickets, because you're now unable to certify the accuracy of the time. He felt it was more beneficial for the town to go forward with the certification, and from a prosecutor's point of view, that was his comment. I shared that with counsel as they instructed me to do from prior meetings.
So my question is, what is the date that, well, actually, you are supposed to finalize that tonight, correct?
Well, that resolution, as I understand, was already approved to allow Remington and Vernick at $1,200, I believe it was, to go forward.
It wasn't a resolution, it was by straw.
By straw poll, because he's a township engineer, to proceed with that. But then we asked him to hold until this report came in, because now the state, as you know, is voiding that. So the condition was that I give the report at the work agenda, and during the work agenda, it was my understanding the council was not going to take action to rescind the resolution, so the resolution stands.
It wasn't a resolution to
I mean-
rescind the straw vote.
Straw vote.
All right, so what action are you taking tonight as promised?
We're not taking any action,
Um,
because there is no action to be taken.
Actually, you said that you would come to a final resolution on this night, and you did a straw poll on that proposal. Will you do that straw poll again tonight? Because your final decision, as you did in the introduction of the proposal, was the last regular meeting. You were going to speak on it at the workshop, and you were going to do the final either approval or withdrawal.
The only action, if I can,
Go ahead.
if from my report, council would make the decision to rescind the authorization, that's what they would do tonight. But there's the straw vote that was taken at the work agenda after I gave my report, is that council was not going to do that because they felt it was beneficial to go forward with it, having received the report from the prosecutor.
All right, and again, I'm going on your words that your final not resolution, but your final decision would be cast tonight.
If there was going to be a rescission or withdrawal of the authorization.
But the
It's
decision,
only thing that had to be done if it was going to be withdrawn.
so the decision was literally made at the workshop as opposed to,
The decision was made at the prior council meeting. The report was given at the workshop. If the report given changed any council member's mind, then at this meeting, they would have withdrawn the authorization. But at the work agenda meeting, the comment and the straw poll of the council members was that no one was going to withdraw based on the report given by the prosecutor.
and again, I'm not going to mince words with you. I just do have to hold you accountable for what you said at the last regular meeting, that your final decision was going to be made on the 8th, and that would have allowed at least folks to be able to continue the conversation, even pro or con, whatever your decision was made. Mr. Bianchini, your words were, quote unquote, will make the final decision on the 8th. But it looks like that had been taken out of that hands for discussion. And again, it was a straw poll that had you discuss it last time and nothing again at this meeting. And it at least allowed for the opportunity for the public to partake in that discussion again, as you had, quote unquote, said the final decision will be made on the 8th.
Yeah, if we were going to rescind, and I don't know the exact words, Ray, but
I have it on audio if you would like.
that's fine, Ray. And I would just tell you that at the discussion at the workshop, we heard the police chief the prior meeting with his opinion. The prosecutor came back via our counsel and had basically the same report given to us. So in my mind, it was, we were not going to change what we authorized prior to this meeting, and so therefore we stand behind the straw poll or the straw vote that took place at that meeting prior to this.
So at this point then, Gloucester Township elected officials will go on the record that this particular certification is going to be rated for past performance, obviously not for future. And does that lead us to believe that all of those certifications have been done for past performance and not future performance? Is that correct?
I'm not sure if I understand. If you remember, there was litigation a year or so ago when several towns had to reimburse tickets that were accepted as guilty determinations and fines. because those towns, not including Gloucester Township, those towns failed to do the proper certification required by the statute.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, first off, what is the date scheduled or proposed date scheduled for R&B to go out?
We were on a deadline, I'm not sure. if
We've
we
already gone out and did the inspection of the light, just to make a look at
Wow. Okay. So, again, I want to be clear, so you're on the record. This certification is certifying these lights, these cameras, for past performance. Is that correct?
It's part of the requirement that the state has issued during this period of time that those cameras get certified. So we are sticking with the certification of those cameras as per the state requirements. So you know that we all approve that with a straw vote, and so that vote still stands.
It's passed as well as pending tickets. There are tickets that have been out there. The prosecutor was concerned that if it's not certified within this period, and those tickets were in that period, then a class action suit can be started. And who knows if it's successful, but it's also pending tickets.
It would surely lead the residents or violators to easily assume then if this certification is off by whatever fraction, any and all violations between the last certification and this now opens up the Pandora's box for,
Yes.
okay, then that's pretty much what we're looking at. And again,
But again, Ray, it's a requirement that has to be, you know, hopefully we've had a proper timing. So, I mean, for us not to do it because we're worried that it could go bad, I think is wrong on our part as well.
well, there are towns throughout this state that are having certifications in and about the same time, and with the lights going dark on the 16th, and it's still believed that they're going to go dark. Some have not taken that opportunity. Not everyone has the same relationship between their engineer and elected officials as we do, but then again, that's some of my concern. You know, well, is it good for the township? Is it good for the elected officials? Is it good for the people that have been in somewhat violation or have been monitored and accused of violation? Or is it to benefit Remington and Vernick?
It's two of our professionals, the chief of our police staff and the prosecutor, who is the professional that came with the same advice. And so, you know, I think that's important to be noted.
The prosecutor did ask the cost. I told him it was around $1,200 to do the certification. His comment was, well, there could be several thousands and thousands of dollars at risk in fines that have already been collected or that could be for violations. So you have to balance it.
Okay. And again, I'm just going to make my suggestion as I have in the past. With the red light cameras going dark and the feeling that the red light cameras were used as a matter of safety, and with the fact that they are going dark on the 16th, maybe we would consider, and the chief may want to weigh in on this, maybe making that intersection no turn on red when children are present. We're very close to a school, and it's a school crossing area. It might benefit us in a safety fashion to make that intersection no turn on red when children are present, something we might want to think about.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you.
Let the chief make that decision. Anyone else? Yes. Go ahead.
Joanne Carr, Timber Birch.
How you doing?
Happy Christmas, everybody.
Thank you.
I have a question about Resolution 14-12-309, about we're having snow removal, and we have various contractors. I looked on the,
We missed it on the last year. This is the contract.
what's that? Oh, this is the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We already did the resolution, we missed this one, so we just did a.
Okay, I was wondering why it was just one name.
Yeah. We did all the other ones
We did
prior.
that.
This one was missed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ray?
So Eric Polidoro, Ariel, I'm tired of hearing myself too, so I feel your pain. The 4 Chevy Bolts, who are they for? What are they going to do? And why are we paying so much for them?
Tom, you want to explain that?
I don't know if you're aware, but we have 4 Mitsubishi Mievs that were under a 2-year lease, which they need to be surrendered at the end of February. So to replace those vehicles, because we have a charging station in the rear of the building, we have looked at a number of vehicles. The one that seems to be the vehicle that makes the most sense would be the Chevy Volt. And we have looked at them, and they can be purchased under state contract, but we understand there is pricing that would fall below state contract, so to try to save money, we're going to put that out for bid. The intent would be to purchase those vehicles. We are going to lease them over a 5-year period, and at the end of the lease, we'll get those vehicles for $1.
Okay,
They
so
will be used for construction. They will be used for code enforcement, the same uses that we currently use with the Mitsubishi Mievs.
okay, so this is going to be a lease, not a buy, correct?
We will ultimately own the vehicles through a lease purchase. At the end of the lease, we get each vehicle for $1.
And we're not having to borrow or bond any money for these vehicles?
Money for these vehicles will be part of the current fund budget, the regular budget.
Okay, and what level are those chargers for those vehicles?
With level,
What is the level charger?
I'm not sure how.
There's the charger that they come with, there's a level 2, and there's a level 3 charger. What chargers are we using with that?
I don't know, Ray. I know that our charging station was upgraded to 220 volts, so I don't know. I believe it's just a standard vehicle, whatever.
Is it a box this big or a box this big?
Right, we haven't gone out for bid yet.
Right.
I would defer to Roman Harrison, who is our supervisor of vehicles.
All right, as a township, now I'm glad to hear that we're finally getting vehicles that we're not going to pay for 15 and 20 years. Shame we can't do that with more of the vehicles. Not a bad vehicle. I happen to have 2 in my family, level 2 Charger. Not a bad vehicle, but there's tax incentives, and it should be good that we look into tax incentives for not just the vehicles, but the Chargers. All right, and maybe we could use them with some of the folks that work 5 days a week. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we'll close the public portion. Proclamation, please.
Whereas radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that is the second leading cause of lung cancer, causing as many as 500 lung cancer deaths annually in New Jersey. And whereas elevated radon levels are found in many homes and pose a serious health threat to families residing in these homes, and whereas any home may have high levels of radon, even neighboring homes do not. And whereas radon testing is easy and inexpensive, elevated levels of radon can be effectively reduced at the cost of typical home repair. Whereas if all New Jersey homes with radon concentrations at or above 4 ppcil were mitigated, about 83 lives could be saved this year. Now therefore I give the Mayor of the Township of Gloucester, on behalf of the Gloucester Township Council and residents of Gloucester Township, is hereby proclaim the week of January 12, 2015 as Radon Action Week in the Township of Gloucester, and call upon all residents who have not yet tested to test their homes for radon and to reduce radon levels if elevated levels are found, and to protect their families from the serious health risks of radon.
Thank you, Rob. Minutes.
Waive the reading and accept the minutes of the regular meeting of November 24th.
Motion to approve minutes.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Dean Keeney?
Yes. Bid report.
2015 professional service RFQs and 25-yard rear load packer body.
Motion to accept bid report. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Dean Keeney?
Yes. We now have ordinances of second reading, and each ordinance will have a public hearing. Ordinance O-14-18. Ordinance of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, and State of New Jersey, adopting amendment number 4, amending ordinance O-97-017, commonly known as the Glen Oaks redevelopment plan, to establish the business park overlay zone pursuant to NJSA 48. This ordinance will allow the township to amend the previous ordinance to allow a business park overlay of the Glen Oaks redevelopment plan. We now have a public hearing on this ordinance. Seeing no hands, we close the public hearing. Motion to adopt.
Second.
Excuse me. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. D'Antoni?
Yes. Ordinance O-14-20. Ordinance authorizing execution of tax abatement agreement between the Township of Gloucester and Comprehensive Property Management, LLC, for premises block 18404, lot 5. As this title states, this ordinance authorizes a tax abatement agreement between the Township of Gloucester and Comprehensive Property Management. Chuck, would you want to add anything to that, please?
No, this is just an office building that on Cross Keys Road. As I said last meeting, it's between Acme and the Centerville Road. Nice little building. It's a medical office, actually, is what they're using most of it for right now.
Thank you, Chuck. We now have a public hearing on this ordinance. Yes, Joanne?
Joanne Carr, Timber Birch. This is basically a question about this one and the next one. I want to understand how the tax abatement works. It says first year they don't pay anything, second is 30, 50, 70, and 90. I'm wondering where those percentages that are collected go. Are they proportionately sent to the different things on our tax bill? The fire department, the county, the school, the township, or?
I'll let Chuck explain that, Joanne.
No, as the way the law and the procedures are set up, the phase-in is a pilot amount, it's not a tax bill amount. Tax bill, they do get the money for the land, and that goes to all the different entities on there. But the pilot money is sent directly to the township. The township bills for them, they collect it, it's almost like a service charge, so to speak, and it goes directly into the township account.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Joanne. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we'll close the public hearing. Motion to adopt.
Second.
On the question, roll call?
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. D'Antoni?
Yes. Ordinance O-14-21. Ordinance authorizing execution of tax abatement agreement between the Township of Gloucester and Eric D. Githens for premise block 16301, lot 5. Again, this ordinance will allow the tax abatement agreement between the Township of Gloucester and Eric D. Githens. Chuck, anything to add to that?
No, this is just it's right off of Williamstown and New Brooklyn Road. It's a small, it's actually a motorcycle repair shop. He put a nice little building there that's right on the corner, right on the edge, right behind the aerial fire hall. So it's a nice improvement done for that area.
Thank you, Chuck. We'll now have a public hearing on this ordinance. Seeing no hands, we close the public hearing. Motion to adopt.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. D'Antoni?
Yes. We now have ordinance of first reading. Ordinance O-14-22. Ordinance of the Township of Gloucester regulating and providing for the care, maintenance, security, and upkeep of the exterior vacant and abandoned residential properties by creditors who have filed a summons and foreclosure complaint regarding residential property within the Township of Gloucester. Dave, you want to add comments to this?
We've had some conversations over the last couple of meetings and work agenda on this ordinance. This ordinance is drafted in accordance with the statute in the state of New Jersey that directs mortgage companies that have filed and served foreclosure complaints on property within, this case, Gloucester Township, that once the ordinance is adopted, they have to assume the responsibility of maintaining the property in accordance with the township's property maintenance code. If it's an out-of-state mortgage lender, that mortgage lender is required to serve on the township a registered agent in the locale that will be responsible for the maintenance of that property exterior if the property is determined to be vacant and abandoned. I believe it's a good enforcement statute. Once, in fact, we've had some registrations come in, and I believe they're being forwarded up to code enforcement as registered agents on properties that are abandoned or vacant and are in foreclosure.
Now, Dave, we had a resident that we talked about possible homeowners associations fees, and I know the discussion was that the ordinance, the state statute did not address that, so we could not change that.
That's correct. That's correct.
So I was wondering maybe if you could have a conversation or send a letter to the legislators and ask them for the resident that this was a request, and maybe that's something they can consider changing, because I think it's a legitimate request. Thank you. Motion to adopt.
Second.
On the question, roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mikado?
Yes.
Yes. We now have the consent agenda. Any council person wishing to remove any of these resolutions, please let me know now. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mikado?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes. I do not have any GTE Gov access questions, so we'll go right to the second public portion. Anyone wishing to speak or ask questions regarding any topic, please raise your hand and come to the microphone. Yes, Mr. K.
Jim Kibbles, this Ariel. Thank you. Also, hope you all have a nice Christmas. I know you're not going to be back until after Christmas for the next one, so enjoy. A couple of things. Council President, I want to thank you about the Homeowners Association. I appreciate that. We could use the help.
Yeah.
One of the houses on our street, I understand, has just been sold.
Oh.
So, number one, Shane, who was in foreclosure for 6 years, moving ahead.
Good.
Finally. Second request I have is, and this has been something that's been brought to the attention of council a number of times, when you put out the ordinances and this, and you always mention the block and lot, it would be nice if we could reference the street address. Not many people know about the state assessment website that they can go out and double check where this is. And in a situation with the tax abatement, the people within 200 feet of that property are not notified. So it would be nice if you could, add that